We are live. Welcome to another episode of Grant Talks Funny Bits. I hope we are all doing well. This week we are live not only on Facebook, we are streaming to YouTube as well. The last time we tried this, all sorts of technical things went wrong. So let's hope today goes well. Tonight we have got an absolutely amazing guest with you, over 40 years experience in the industry. But most importantly, I want to make sure that you guys can hear me okay. So if you can hear me, then say so in the comments. If you have any questions for tonight's guest, then please do ask those questions. This guy has some great, oh, there we go. Yes, with sound. Thank you, Jeff. Woo. So far, so good on the technical hitches. I have actually this week got myself a new Rode microphone. I thought I would treat myself. So hopefully, I mean, that's not the reason why we've had bad sound. We've had bad sound because I generally forget to unmute myself in the intro sequence. Tonight's guest is an absolute legend within the industry. He has over 40 years experience as a performing stage hypnotist. He was I believe, a stand-up comedian / magician before that as well. This guy is a true legend within the industry. There we go. We've got Jason Simmons is here. Hey, Grant, I hope you are well. No sound. Is he? He's joking into it. Oh, don't do that to me, Jason, because I don't know. I have to trust your judgments. So, guys, I'm going to play this clip. If there's no sound, let me know. If there is sound, someone go around to Jason's house and give him a dead leg for me. Because I don't know. I could just be sat here talking to myself. I don't even know if you guys are actually there. So I'm going to play this sequence, and then after that, we're going to welcome to Grant Talks Funny Bits, James Szeles. So tonight's guest has, he is only joking. Tonight's guest has 40 years experience as a performing stage hypnotist. He has seen it from the beginning, of this generation of hypnotists right up to where it is now. I've been watching some of his clips on YouTube as well, and there's a really great one from 1985. It's like black and white of some great performing hypnosis. So if you have some questions for this guest, please feel free to ask, because this is your chance to pick the brains of a true expert, of someone that's been out there in the trenches performing hypnosis for 40 years. So please make some noise, bang your keyboards, hit that heart and love emoji for the one and only James Szeles. And there he is.
Hey, great.
Say hello, James.
Hello.
Fantastic. It is good to hear you. I can hear you faintly, but let me just turn my sound up on here. I think that's my end that's quiet. Say something, James.
Is that better?
There we go. That's better. I've got this earbud in, but the battery's just started, I think. So before we start, we've got a couple of hellos. Neil Banks says hi. Neil was on the show last week as well. He's a performance hypnotist who's over in Spain at the moment. Natasha Stanley says, hey, nice T-shirt. This T-shirt has been a bit of a joke among some of my friends, so we're going to move swiftly over from the T-shirt. There we go. Jason Simmons is here, and Jeff Bennick is here as well. So, James, most importantly, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm just sitting here waiting for the vaccine for COVID, so I get back to work, and that's all I can do right now.
Yeah, true. Brian Glenn says hello, and Dennis Ridgway says, hey, James.
Hey, Dennis. Hey, bud.
So, yeah, I mean, how are you guys with the whole COVID thing? I know our government recently announced this week that we're going to start the vaccines. I think it's actually next week. From the 5th, we're going to start vaccinating people. So that's a good sign. But it's going to be the old people first, then the frontliners in the healthcare after that, and then somebody else. And then at the very back of the queue is me. So, yeah. So how were things before COVID?
They were really good. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, so I always do I got about 10 shows a year I do every year, regardless of the regular shows. And I've been doing pretty good, and I've got no complaints. I moved out from San Francisco out to Northern California, a little bit closer towards Sacramento, and a whole new market here for me. Yeah, I'm loving it. Yeah.
It's, I mean, you've been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
What was your inspiration? What got you into stage hypnosis? What were you doing before you were a hypnotist? And what was the trigger? What was the show you saw? Who was the hypnotist you saw? What was that inspiration?
I was doing a street performing show at Pier 39. I was doing a rainmaking show, and somebody gave me a self-hypnosis cassette. And I listened to it, and I loved it. It just knocked me out. And I seen Pat Collins.
Yeah.
This is back in '79, the hypnotist on Showtime. I thought, well, that's interesting. So I did a little research, and I found out that hypnotists make the most money in the college markets. I thought, oh, well, I just want to do that. Why not? And I bought a book. I went to the store, I bought a book, and back in the days when hypnosis books were in the occult section of the bookstore, and I literally read an introduction right out of the book and hypnotized my buddy. And I told him when he woke up, he's going to take his shoe off and walk in the hallway, and he did it. I thought, okay, well, there's a career. And that's how that basically is that simple. That's how it started. And I had never seen a stage hypnosis show live other than Pat Collins. So it was just a lot of trial and error. It took about 5 years to get the show going, but yeah.
What was that moment like? The first time you've hypnotized your friend, you said he was going to do it, and he goes out there. How did that feel? And I know how it made me feel the first time I kind of did hypnosis and it worked. It is a drug. I got kind of hooked at that moment. How was it for you?
I was shocked, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
thought, this is kind of too easy, way too easy, you know. And he was my volunteer for many years, and he had a drinking problem. This guy, the first guy hypnotized. So he's over my house one day, and he wants to say, "Hey, I want to quit drinking." I said, "Okay." Hypnotize him. I said, "On the count of 5, you wake up, you'll hate the taste of beer." Because I've only been doing this like 6 months at this point. So I hypnotize him. He goes under, and I didn't have any beer at the house. I give him a glass of water. So, take a sip of the beer. He hates the taste of beer. And he spits it out. And I wake him up, and he goes next door and buys a beer. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So a couple of days later, he calls me up and he says, "Ever since you hypnotized me, I can't stand the taste of water." Yeah, there you go. That was my first taste of hypnotherapy work.
Yes. So over the years, I'm sure you've performed at many different venues. I know the college market and the prom market is massive in the US. Have you done anything over Europe? Have you done anything this side of things? What's the strangest country you have traveled to hypnotize somebody?
I was in Australia. I love Australia.
Yeah,
I taught a couple classes there in Melbourne. I got a chance to see Australia and work with some hypnotherapists, teach them stage hypnosis.
yes.
It was real interesting. You know, it was interesting to see they're doing hypnosis, and they're really into mysticism and spiritualism in Australia too, which is kind of surprising for me. But yeah, that was fun. That was pretty fun over there. Yeah,
I do think it's important it's part of the learning curve, I believe, for a lot of hypnotherapists, whether they want to go on to perform on stage or not. I think learning the skills of stage hypnosis adds something to that toolbox and gives them a better understanding of what we do as well, if you know what I mean. I do think it's very important for hypnotherapists to take on board what stage hypnotists do more. Is that something you do on the hypnotherapy side of things? I know in America there is kind of you have some states where you kind of have to be a licensed practitioner or medical practitioner to do hypnotherapy. What about where you are now?
Well, I took a hypnotherapy class my third year of doing stage hypnosis. So I'm a licensed hypnotherapist in California, and I started doing smoking sessions before the shows took off, but I didn't like doing it. I didn't like hearing people's problems. I had always come from an entertainment background, and it was for me, you know.
Yeah.
So it was there. I thought if I hang on a second, sorry about that.
No worries.
There. Okay. Sorry about that.
But yeah, I must admit I'm the same. It's for me. I love performing hypnosis. You get the laugh, you get the audience interaction there, and then they go home happy, and you've got the responsibility of fixing somebody's life, which is a great job. And for all the hypnotherapists out there that do that, it's fantastic.
I'll still do one-on-one sessions with my friends.
Yeah,
you know, I help friends quit smoking and lose weight like that. I don't charge them for it. And, yeah.
So over your 40 years, what's the strangest or the most challenging show that you've done? The one that taught you lots of lessons as such?
The most bizarre show I did was I did a corporate show, and I took my wife with me, and I don't drink. I don't drink during when I'm performing. She was with me, so I gave me a glass of wine. And she, "Would you like it?" She goes, "Yeah, that's fine." And somebody tried to spike my drink with Hypno.
Oh wow!
And I didn't drink it, but she did. and my wife videotaped my shows. So I'm doing and this is right before the show. So I start my show off, and I'm looking over, and the camera light's off. I see the record light on. Then it's back on. Then it's back off. Then it's back on. And I'm doing the Chippendale dancers. And all of a sudden I hear my wife go, "Woo, take it off." I'm over here. What the hell is going on? And so at the end of the show, she's so sick and she passes out. And she gets so sick in the car. And to this day, she hates that. She can't stand watching that show. But the whole show, she was heckling me. My wife's heckling me. I don't know what's going on. And, as far as I know, I don't know. So that was kind of bizarre. I've done shows where I've had adverse reactions. I had one kid who couldn't stop laughing the whole show. Literally couldn't stop laughing. Those kind of things. Then you get the usual surprises where I'll do the. I used to do the routine where you say the man sitting to your left is pinching your butt. You'll deny it no matter what. And so this lady's getting mad at this kid at a high school show. And the second time, she's smacking him. And the third time, she's hitting him. And the fourth time, he goes, "I didn't pinch your butt. I can prove it. I'm gay." I did himself to the whole school right then and there. So
Wow.
those are the kind of things. Or I'll do the James Bond bit where I say, find the best looking woman in the audience. And of course, I've had kids go to their teachers.
Yeah.
I've had kids go to other guys and same-sex people. That's pretty common, So it's just those kind of things, After 40 years, you've seen pretty much everything you would think you could.
Yeah.
But every time something surprises me.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I think makes a stage hypnosis show unique as well. Is even though the sets can be the same, the audience's reaction or the subject's reaction to those suggestions can be so different, and that's where the comedy is as well. That, every now and then something will catch you off guard, and it is kind of like, oh, that's a new one. You mentioned then the pinching the butt routine. I had not say I had a bad experience with this, but one of the universities in the UK that I worked with, they kind of took offence to that routine. How have you found audiences' reactions, or has, like with the whole hashtag Me Too movement and all that's coming forward now, how have you found your routines have changed because of that?
I've toned my show down drastically. I mean, I used to do like a soft R-rated show for the grad nights, where I'll tell the guy his penis is missing, and the lady has your penis, and now I don't do anything sexual.
Yeah.
For me, I've been doing this for 40 years, and so I'm obviously not older than when I started. And about 10 years ago, I was doing the favorite movie star, and I would say, "Do you want to marry me?" Yeah. And like 5 years ago, kids at the high school go, "Ooh, the old man wants to marry her on stage," and I was like, "Well, maybe I should cut this one out," So I just kind of changed that around. I said, rather than, I'm the favorite movie star, and if you're going to be my next movie, it's going to be a horror movie, so just scream as loud as you can. I kind of change those kind of things. You got to change around a little bit,
Yeah. I must admit, if people watching, if they go on your YouTube channel, and I think it's the Denzel Washington skit, which is exactly that you've just said there, and I thought it's a great workaround where you've made the girl think that you're Denzel Washington, which in and of itself is quite comical. But yeah, you audition her for a role in your next horror movie and make her scream, and screaming is like laughing. It's one of those things that you can't really do it consciously, and when someone really lets her scream out like that, it's absolutely
it's funny. It's really funny.
Yeah.
And I had a woman, her favorite celebrity was Sugar Ray, the singer, and when she opened her eyes, she took one look at me and passed out. She was so excited. You just you never know. You never know. But I've kind of PC'd my show down quite a bit, so I try not to be anything too offensive, and especially here in California, everything's politically correct. So I cut out a lot of that kind of stuff. Even the tickle gun, I have to be careful.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about. I mean, the tickle guns. We've got a clip of that coming up in a minute. But I was kind of, being British, we see Americans as you guys are all like crazy gun-toting, enthusiasts. I was going to ask how the tickle gun routine, does that cause any issues in high schools in America at the moment? I mean, the gun itself is very non-offensive. But I just kind of thought, with the Me Too movement, they can kind of jump on things like that. So how has that been?
Well, way back in the early 90s, my wife's from Liverpool, so we went to see her family in Liverpool, and I see these three guns that I use. They're at a shop, and I thought, wow, this would be cool if I could write a routine around it. And I did that for many, many years, and then as the school shootings back in '99, the school shootings started happening, and a lot of people said to me, "You can still do this routine because of the gun." So now I start the show with, "I've got a gun here. It's a toy gun. It's not a real gun. It won't hurt you. That's why I have to set up just like that. Otherwise, people get panicky." But even I've done stuff. I do stuff on stage, and nobody's ever come up to me and complained. I have people write out other people with magic markers. I'll take a big thick magic marker, and I'll say, let's say the guy's Bruno Mars, and after he sings Bruno Mars, I'll say, who wants his autograph? And just because I used to do Elvis, and I got kind of bored with doing Elvis Presley, and I had to spice it up. So I thought, what if after Elvis sang, he signed autographs? Wouldn't that be kind of a nice twist? What if he signed autographs with the world's biggest Sharpie, like this thick, on somebody's arm? It was permanent magic marker.
Yeah.
And, maybe people would get upset. But I've been doing that for 10 years, and nobody's gotten upset. Oh. And it is permanent magic marker all up their arm or their chest or their legs. Or
nice.
It's this kind of thing, Things you think people are going to set up, they really don't.
Yeah. And it's a good demonstration of hypnosis, and it's a great reminder to the subject the next day when they look at their arm and they've got a permanent marker all up there.
All up their arm. I've had people have them sign their chest or the leg. I won't let them sign their forehead. Here, sign my forehead right here. I won't do that though. Brilliant.
Did you say your wife was from Liverpool?
Yeah. We met
brilliant.
As a street performer. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, it's nice to hear of Americans kind of talk about the north of England. A lot of people just kind of think it's just London and Scotland, and there's nothing in the middle. Whereas that middle band, kind of Liverpool to Hull, that M62 corridor is just, there's some great comedy, some great variety performance, some great entertainers in that northern band there. So yeah,
in America, go to Liverpool. I mean, when Americans think Liverpool, they think, well, the whole town is dedicated to the Beatles.
Yes.
You get there, they're not too thrilled with the Beatles in Liverpool these days.
Yes. So. Yeah. Do you have any plans to come back to the UK anytime soon?
We're thinking about going to Paris, my wife and I.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
She's got family in England, so we'll probably fly into London to see the family for a couple of days and head over to Paris, maybe. But we've been there. We used to go every 2 years till her parents died. Oh. And I think her family got kind of tired of seeing us after a while. I was like, "Oh, you guys are back again? Okay, well."
So how important is? I say how important. I mean, we all know it's very important. It's having that good publicity. You have one of, for me, the most recognizable stage hypnosis posters in the world. It is a great. I mean, I'm a big fan of the old school kind of old theatre vaudeville, shows. This poster is an absolute nod to that. I believe this poster was also mentioned in Andrew Newton's book, All in the Mind. He compliments this poster in there, and to get a compliment from Andrew Newton, he's, that's a feat in and of itself. So let me just bring up. I shall bring up a copy of it here for people that haven't seen it. It is a great. Where is it? There we go. That's the poster. As I push this up as well, I do believe that a link to that would appear in the comment section as well. Let me just make sure we're on the right theme there. There we go. It's just brought up a link to that as well in the comment section, which goes to your website. Tell us about the poster. How did it come about?
Well, I had an idea to do a poster in the same technique as Houdini, the old type magic poster. I come from a magic background. I did magic for many, many years. And so I hired some graphic artists to do it. They had a hard time getting the colors right. This is 96. And my wife is a graphic artist, and she's been in print many, many years. And so we bought this book to show these guys called 100 Years of Magic posters.
Yeah.
And one of her clients had a big drum scanner, and they had what they call a Cytex machine, which today is Photoshop. And he said, "We'll just Cytex. We'll scan in these pieces of magic posters, and we'll manipulate them to look like whatever you want." And so there's a video on my YouTube channel showing how I made this and what posters I used. But it ran me, this is 1996, it ran me $10,000 for 100 of them.
Wow.
And the guy started them on optical drives in 96, and the optical drives are so expensive, he deleted the files. I couldn't get them reprinted. But it was the paper side of that special caramel paper they don't make anymore. And so it ran out pretty much $10 a poster for me. Wow. But it was something that came out better than I could even imagine. And I just kind of like, well, if you see the poster too, I'm fitting the poster, but at the time it was really heavy. I was like 300 pounds. So I give people the poster, I have to say, actual size may vary at the bottom.
But yeah. I must admit, I mean, I've seen your kind of weight loss transformation over the years as well, which is quite a feat in and of itself. It's something you should be very proud of. I mean, you're in California now. Have you always been in California?
From Detroit, but I've moved to California in 78.
Yeah,
and
nice.
I've been out here longer than I've been in Michigan.
Yeah,
and I moved to LA first, and I spent a year in LA, and I spent a winter in LA, which is just like, warm 72 degrees. I couldn't live in the Midwest anymore. It was just too cold.
Yeah,
it's just Detroit.
So I mean, what keeps you in California? Is it the weather?
Just the weather and the whole attitude. California is a very liberal state.
Yes,
and especially San Francisco. I mean, San Francisco is probably the most liberal at the time, and not anymore. You could probably live in California. I just kind of like the fact that nobody judges you. You can live your own life, and it was very laid back. And San Francisco at the time, 78, because I lived in San Francisco the majority of my time, was a very bohemian city. It was designed for artists, like South Market. They had the cheap warehouses that the artists could rent, and it was just the whole city was into arts. I just fell in love with the city. Yeah.
Brilliant. Right, we have the clip of you, which is here somewhere. It's on my screen somewhere. I shall find it and we shall play that. This is the tickle gun, it's a great setup. This, and what I like about it is that it's like the second or third person in is not ticklish, and I think a less experienced performer would stumble at that. But I love how you use the suggestion of changing the tone or the noise on the tickle gun to install it again. And this, as it gets further on, there's another guy further on who's not ticklish, and again you change it, and the response from that is just brilliant. So I'll play this clip now, and then we'll chat on the other side.
Okay.
Only the leader who show up to count 5 on your eyes, I guess. Deep sleep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Somebody's ticklish. Somebody's ticklish. Oh, yes, you are. There you go.
Watch my eyes. Watch my eyes, dude. Watch my eyes. Look at my eyes. Look at my eyes. Look at me. Somebody ticklish? That's a yes. Come in. This lady was showing up touching, this gentleman was showing up touching. Twice a week for the last 5 years, you played the lottery together. This lady and this gentleman, twice a week for the last 5 years, you played the same 6 numbers. This gentleman, as for your responsibility to buy the lottery tickets, after today you forgot to buy them. But don't tell you forgot to buy the lottery tickets until all 6 numbers are drawn. So this lady, this gentleman, this lady, on the count of 5 seconds, you show up your eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your eyes. You understand you two know each other, correct?
Yeah.
And you play lottery together?
Yeah.
It's the same 6 numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah, who buys the ticket? Who buys the tickets? Yes, take this one. Take that from me right there. Check that out. Say the lottery numbers you usually play, right? Is that right?
It's a Super Bowl lottery.
Here we go.
Don't think I have to tell everybody, but tonight's jackpot is worth a record-breaking $198 million.
Oh, you got a shot.
Well, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's roll those numbers and good luck. The first number is 5.
I bet you already have that.
Our second number is 2727. Our third number, 4040. Our fourth number in tonight's jackpot is 12. Our fifth number is 29, that's 29. And our last number, and let's hope it's lucky for you, is 44. If you have all 6 numbers,
You did it?
our newest
Stand up, Buffy, stand up. Stand up, Buffy. Congratulations, high five. Now, show her the winning lottery ticket.
Huh?
Show her the winning lottery ticket, right?
Yeah.
Tell her, where's your winning lottery ticket? Tell her the truth.
I have it.
You forgot to buy it. Tell her you forgot to buy the ticket.
Forgot to buy it.
Sure, everybody. $198 million? What do you have to say for yourself, man? That's too late. It's just Tuesday. You got the ticket. You're rich. Yeah, you're rich.
Yeah.
The lottery, the famous lottery ticket, huh?
Yeah, I like that. I like how you get it so that the person's not bought the lottery ticket as well. So it always gets a great response. And I like the way that it's set up that you kind of got the pre-record as well, kind of calling out the lottery tickets. But yeah, the tickle gun is a brilliant routine. I do like that. That's that again, delivered really well. And when you kind of you're resetting the gun for the guy that didn't respond at first, and then he fires off kind of 10 times stronger. It's brilliant. So yeah.
I remember now because I watched that clip. I started off with the orgasm. I used to do comedy club. I still do comedy clubs, but when I did my adult shows in comedy clubs, I would do the orgasm gun.
Yeah.
And for me, I originally, I have one clip that's kind of hidden, but I had a toy little plastic squirt gun. I make that. Then I found that the toy gun in Liverpool, and I thought this gun's so good. How can I use it in a different G-rated show? So the tickle gun just developed from that. Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant. What would you say is? I mean, I know like over the years routines have changed. Like the human bridge, the catalepsy used to be a very popular routine. Now, I mean, I don't know about in the States, but I know here in the UK that routine itself is not allowed.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you do that in the States, your insurance won't cover it. So yeah.
Again, when you mentioned the one earlier about when you make a guy's penis disappear, we had an incident here I think that was in the 90s, where there was a court case come about, and now part of our kind of consent forms is we're not going to make anyone believe that they've lost a body part that would cause them distress. So Jason Morgan's here, and he says, "Hello, what have I missed? You've missed it all. Szeles gave away all his top secrets just for you. Here.
Secrets."
Natasha Stanley says, "Why isn't it allowed?" I mean, basically, the human bridge routine is just because there's so much chance for someone to get an injury, a back injury, or something like that. It's just, done well. It's a great presentation, but the ease of accidents that could happen on the back of it's not worth it for insurance purposes now. And for the
you have to just use to stand on them after they stretch them.
Yeah. And I've seen some big guys stand on some small people as well, which as a demonstration is what it is. I cannot be seen to condone or promote the human bridge, but yeah, it'll be uproar in some of the groups. Where do you see stage hypnosis going? Kind of coming out of COVID, vaccines and everything's fine. Where do you see the future of stage hypnosis? I know there's some guys on TikTok and YouTube coming forward doing like the street stuff and the individual skits. How do you think that affects hypnosis?
Street hypnosis is starting to really gain popularity quite a bit. And, I find that like in the States, the high school, the grad nights, and the post-proms, it just used to be really big. But over the years, the grad nights are kind of like fading away. I don't know how many hangover years we have at the schools, but there's always going to be a draw at a corporate event or a party or a club or a school. I don't see hypnosis changing that drastically much anymore. And with YouTube and people getting the word out, people are just as fascinated as they ever were.
Yeah, and I think it's in my experience, audiences are as much fascinated now on the psychology of it. Like it used to be get the induction done as quickly as possible and make them do something stupid. Now the induction itself is a very entertaining part of the show, and audiences like to see that process so they can try and figure it out. So yeah, I think as we grow and evolve as performers, maybe there's more area for us to be a bit more serious rather than comedy hypnotists, but still be entertaining. So yeah, I don't know.
I don't make my shows educational at all. A lot of hypnotists try to make their shows about education. I'm there to entertain people. Yeah, and that's just from the very beginning. I set my show up to just like, what can I do to get people under, make them want to have me come back.
Yeah,
so my whole show is based around that, and I'm not trying to be a hypnotherapist. And
I think there's with the kind of the bringing around of Darren Brown. I think there's some entertainment in hypnosis without it being educational, if you know what I mean. I think the issue that a lot of or some hypnotherapists have when they come to stage stuff is they try and do hypnotherapy on stage, and I don't think that works as such. You've kind of got to have that performance background, that entertainment background to put on a show first and weave hypnosis within that show.
Yeah, Darren Brown's just amazing. He blows me away every time I see him.
Yeah,
I love his special. He's just so good.
Yeah. And a great way of not having to do a lot, but making it phenomenal. That's
great presentation. That's just it's on the presentation.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great presentation, and that's the thing that draws people to come and see us. They research it more, try and find more information, and then that hopefully then brings them back to us. Yeah. I mean, I know corporates in the UK that died off a few years ago, but it's starting to come, or was starting to come back a little bit better. But yeah, I think it's a case of pushing it out there and promoting. I know in the US, you guys have got, is it Gig Masters or Gig Salad?
You're going to 2 or 3 out there. Yeah, they're pretty popular.
We're really lucky over here that we don't have anything like that yet. And I hear a lot that sites like that can just drive the price down. But I'm a bit old-fashioned. I like to kind of market myself and get it out there. What tips would you give to people that are trying to get new bookings at the moment?
Just give them a reason. Give them a reason to book you. I mean, I've had shows I want. Like my family's in Michigan, and I wanted to go to Michigan one time. And a high school called me for a grad night, and they said, "Well, we want you to come out there, but we don't have the budget." And I said, "I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll send you a DVD of my show." This is several years back. And if you don't think it's worth the money, no harm, no foul. So I sent them the DVD, and they said, "Okay, well, we want you out there. We'll put up extra bucks." You got to let people know that you're not buying Joe Spo's show or somebody else's. You're buying it. Hypnosis shows are based on entertainment. They're personality driven. Yeah, that's one thing. I always. And if you got a good personality, and if you bring that personality at the show and bring it on people, that's your key. And once you get that down, just show people. If they're on the fence paying the money, I'm sorry, man.
No, it's okay.
I don't use this computer that often. This is my office computer. Usually I'm sitting on the laptop. And but if you can show people why you're charging more than other people, that's the thing. A lot of hypnotists are afraid to do that. They're afraid, well, if I ask more than the next guy, they're not going to book me. I find it's just the opposite. Sometimes people want to pay more because they think they get better quality.
Yeah. And that's it. There's a perceived value with paying more money for something, and so sometimes I think you can underprice a show and you'll lose. Like corporates don't want cheap hypnotists; they want good hypnotists, and they believe the more they pay for it, the more value there is in that. So yeah, Yeah, there's a meme I saw the other week that I thought was very appropriate when it comes to marketing, especially with what we do. And it says the only thing, in fact, it might have been one that you shared. For those that don't know and don't follow Szeles on Facebook, he hunts memes every day and shares them, and they're amazing. But it was something like the only thing standing between you and the life of your dreams is your lack of talent, your terrible looks, and personality. Yeah, and I just thought that it was perfect. I've got it saved on my phone. I'm going to make it perfect and make it mine. So yeah, I must admit, half my phone is from memes that I've stolen from your feed, I believe. But it's a great way of pushing your message without being overselling, though, because clients that follow you on Facebook will see those memes. It makes them smile. They're entertained, and they associate that with you by default. It's not you going, book my show, book my show, book my show, but it still keeps it out there, and it keeps you front of mind when it comes to marketing. So I don't think
my personal Facebook page, clients can't see that.
Oh,
so that page is so locked down because America's so PC, and so you see some of the stuff I post there, and if they see that, you know, I'm really big in the South, in the Bible Belt of America. I have no idea why, but Virginia, West Virginia, I am very big in the South, and if they've seen some of the stuff on the page, yeah, it's kind of cool.
Cool. So what's next for you? I mean, I know you did Hypno Thoughts a few years ago. You headlined there for the conference in Vegas. What goals have you yet to achieve that you've not achieved that you want to?
Yeah. I'm kind of semi-retired now. I turned 65 this year.
Wow.
And I've spent my life on the road, and I've had, you know, so I'm just really choosy. I'll do like 10 shows a year if they're local, if I can drive within 2 hours, or if it's overnight. And I don't really need everybody needs the money. I'm not saying I'm rich, but my income's not based on my shows anymore, and the money I just get my fun money. So I'm kind of just kicking back and picking my shows and enjoying myself.
Yeah.
So
I think in the early days, you want to get out there and perform everywhere and anywhere you possibly can to get that stage time. But then as you get further down the line, like you said, it's about picking the right shows for you rather than just doing anything. I mean, I spend my life on the road, and up until lockdown, I was happy to do that, if you know what I mean. But this lockdown that we've just been through, it's changed my mindset, where I kind of think, do I want to be traveling all the miles that I used to do? But the reality is, of course I do. I want to get back out there and back on stage as soon as possible, but who knows? But I don't think I've got a confirmed booking that I know is going to happen until kind of March time. I have some in the diary, but I do expect those to be cancelled or postponed at the moment. But I think for March time, you know, things are looking good again. You know, the phone's, you know, ringing, emails are coming in for inquiries. So, you know, fingers crossed.
I've turned down about 3 shows in the last couple of months, just because I don't feel safe.
Yeah,
doing it. You know, in America, especially because half this country doesn't believe the virus is real.
Yeah,
believe it or not. And it's especially in California. I live in a small little county, and our hospital is overwhelmed already with COVID cases.
Wow.
And so I'm being really cautious, and I'm going to wait to get the vaccine before I do any more shows.
Yeah.
And I'm not unfortunate enough I can sit there and, you know, and still pay my bills and be that way, but you know.
Yeah. Since March, April, whenever we went into kind of lockdown, I've done one show, and the venue kind of, you know, it was in Cornwall, so there's hardly any cases down there, and I worked myself up so much over it, and I put so much into it with like face masks, shields, tape on the floor. I actually paid a person with hand sanitizer to come and just press that down just to make sure that, you know, that you know, everything was safe. But still, it's something that I wouldn't do again. You just can't get the same atmosphere from them whilst that's going on.
Just COVID and hypnosis don't go together. You can't get everybody close together. You can't really interact. Yeah, it's kind of killed our business for a while anyhow.
Yeah. I'll go 1 second. I'll just
You're getting sleepy.
There we go. I'd not actually put my MacBook on charge, and it's just brought up the low battery sign. So that would be very embarrassing for me if the battery just died then. So yeah, we are plugged back in now.
I live on my MacBook here.
Yeah.
Yeah, 24/7. I've got this beautiful computer here, but yeah, I can't be bothered.
I think one thing that lockdown has changed my mindset on is one, kind of the video, this streaming stuff. And I've kind of got my stuff set up now that I can stream from anywhere. I was in Budapest a couple of months ago and still stream from there. So it's made my personal stuff more self-contained, if you know what I mean. And it's something that I love doing, and to be able to reach out to professionals like yourself around the world and share stories on the stage. And hopefully these will help people that are breaking through in stage hypnosis. If you could give one tip to either a younger James or to a stage hypnotist that's just starting out now, what tip would that be?
I said, just take chances, develop a show that you feel comfortable with, and you can be yourself. And if you're comfortable on stage, it'll show. And if it shows on stage, people like you. If they like you, you get bookings. There's no secret formula to it.
Yeah.
I tell people they don't come to my show to see me. They come to my show to see their friends do stupid stuff.
Yeah.
They come to see me because they know I can make their friends do that stupid stuff.
Yeah.
That's the extent the hypnotist plays in all this. I'll do a show and I'll have 20 people on stage and do an amazing show, and they'll go up to the volunteers and say, "Oh, you guys were great." But the hypnotist is like, "Well, that's just part of your job, I guess. I don't know."
Yeah. No, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think it's easy to get caught up in the ego of stage hypnosis when the reality is that show is so much funnier when you know the person that's on stage. So yeah, I'm a big fan of, and I saw one of your videos exactly on this topic on intimate shows. Intimate shows work really well because everybody knows everybody there. So when that person's on stage, the show is automatically funnier.
I tell people I'm a working hypnotist. I've done shows with 6 people. If they want to pay my fee, I'll go anywhere. I'll do any place. Some hypnotists will have to have 150 people or 100 people in the crowd. I've done shows with 6 people at a birthday party once. Yeah. And that's the key. I mean, I do shows in Vegas. I do colleges. I do fairs. But in between, I'll do anything.
Yeah.
I'll go to the up and up and envelope. They pay me.
Yeah. Someone's just put, "What if you were ugly?"
Well, Dennis, I don't know about you, buddy. I mean, there may be a hope for you.
I think if you've got an interesting face, then you'll always do well.
Yeah, really. There's several hypnotists I like, and I'll watch the shows over and over. Cause I can't watch a lot of hypnosis shows.
No,
but I watch a couple of hypnotist shows because I just like their personality, how they make me laugh, the way they play off people on stage.
I mean, Andrew Newton, who we mentioned earlier, despite his character that he plays in the forums and everything else, as a performer, his comedy between the skits, not the hypnosis, is really good. And I think that's an important thing. You could get 10 hypnotists, do 10 hypnosis shows, at like word for word, almost identical, but there'll always be a couple that just stand out because of their personality and how they weave all that together, how they make the most out of the stars on stage. So yeah, absolutely. I always ask guests for a book recommendation. If you were to recommend one book that you think is important for any stage hypnotist to have, or a book that has been important that has helped you develop your business as a stage hypnotist, what would it be?
The business is probably a lot of everybody has read. That's called Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah,
I read that when I came out to California in the 70s, and to this day, parts of that book just still resonate in my mind. I read a book called Psycho-Cybernetics, and that's what got me into hypnosis. And it had a chapter on how the mind works. I've always been fascinated with metaphysics and supernatural stuff, and it was that book and the combination of that and getting a tape on hypnosis really got me intrigued. But yeah, definitely learn that people forget, hypnotists forget it's a business.
Yeah,
sure, it's fun, it's good, people like you, but in the end, you're paying your mortgage, you're paying your car payments, you're eating.
Yeah,
and it's simple. I got my show down to a point where it's so simple. For the very beginning, I made my show as easy as possible. I do the absolute minimum I have to do as far as fancy stuff. And like when I first started, one of my first press photos had me holding a crystal back and forth. Right? And I said, okay, watch it, Crystal. Your eyes are getting tired. Your eyes are getting heavy. And I thought, well, wait a minute. This is taking me 3 minutes. What if you just tell them to close your eyes?
Yeah.
Boom. That's the kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that comes from experience. You do realize that actually, you know, you're using all these words and all these things when it's not necessary. So you cut out all the things that you don't need. And like I said, you end up with a more polished performance because of it. But yeah.
And then they have to like you. Your opening speech, your opening introduction is your chance to win the audience over. They decide right there if they like you, if they trust you.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate. I got one of these trustworthy faces, so I've been told. And I can get rid of things on stage a lot of people can't, because people, oh, it's just harmless, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's personality driven, and just make sure that your shows. Here's what drives me crazy. I'll see really good stage hypnotists who won't have people get out of their chairs. The whole show is some people sitting in their chairs. They're in the orchestra, they're driving the car. They never stand up and they never interact with them. Yeah, I think, well, that's crazy. You know, it's up to you to highlight the people that on stage that are your best subjects. You know, yeah. This is my philosophy.
Getting them moving, getting them doing something gets the audience.
Just sit there in a row. You know.
Yeah. I think that maybe comes from an insecurity. You know, you don't get them to push out there, then you're not going to get that rejection sort of thing. So yeah. Well, yeah, James, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. For those guys that are watching, this is going to be on YouTube as well. I'll send you a link to the YouTube link. And the books that we've mentioned, there will be a link to those books in the description on YouTube, probably tomorrow when I get round to doing it. Please check out James's social media. Check out his YouTube. Subscribe to him on YouTube. It's so important to subscribe to each other's YouTube channels to kind of just help push us all forward, if you know what I mean. And James is a great guy with loads of experience. And if you have any questions about anything to do with stage performance, you know, he's happy to answer questions. You know, a lot of stage hypnotists can be full of ego, and James is definitely not one of those. So guys, please hit him up, ask him loads of questions, ring him up on his next live feed.
There you go, yeah.
just ring him up when he's on the live feed. Final words, James. What would you say to the people watching?
I'd say if you want to be a hypnotist, just don't give up. There's no reason I was successful other than I just didn't give up, and I tried everything I could, and eventually, you know, the universe gets tired of saying no, and you become successful.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Jason Morgan, or Nobby Morgan, says all hypnotists should stick together and promote each other. Absolutely right. The one thing that helps our profession is other hypnotists doing well. It's not about dog eat dog. You know, it's our competition isn't other hypnotists. Our competition is comedians, magicians, violinists. That's the competition. Someone sees a good hypnotist, they will go and see another good hypnotist. It's as simple as that. Dylan Lookrook says 100%. Dylan's going to be on the show soon as well. He's a British hypnotist that's doing really well over here in the UK. You know, a great guy as well.
Check your ego at the door, because what happens is, especially when you get started and you do a couple successful shows and people come up to you and say, "Oh, you're great, you're great, you're great," you know, your head go, "Brr."
Yeah.
But you know, that just treat it as a business, and don't be in competition with other hypnotists, and don't care what other people are saying, or just, you know, they're hypnotists who sit there and badmouth every hypnotist out there.
Yeah. Stay away from the forums.
Yeah. Stay away.
Yeah. But James Szeles, thank you very much for joining us this week. It's an absolute pleasure. And hopefully, are you going to be at Hypno Thoughts this year?
I'm teaching a class of Hypno Thoughts this year.
Fantastic. What class are you teaching?
I'm teaching how to maximize your skits on stage and how to connect with the audience.
Brilliant. Guys, if you're going to be in Vegas this year, get yourself booked onto that. It will be a great lesson that's going to help you with your hypnosis business. Guys, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube, then do it now. If you don't, I will come around your house and make strange noises in the middle of the night so that you never get any sleep.
Can I do a quick plug before you do? If you're on Facebook, check out the League of Extraordinary Stage Hypnotists.
Great.
It's my group for professional stage hypnotists, and people there are very nice and answer any questions you have about anything.
Yes.
So,
League of Extraordinary Hypnotists. Have you still got the pin badges?
Oh yeah.
I need a pin badge off you at some point. They are great.
Okay.
Brilliant. Right, James and guys, thank you for watching us. I shall see you next week as well. Like I said, check out all the social medias and yeah, stay safe.